Hello and welcome to Sky Career Talks, where we display why it's great to learn with us and communicate. I'm your host, Dion Wright, and today joining us, we have Lauren Stone. For more than 5 years, Lauren has designed intuitive and delightful products, and she currently works for Florence Healthcare. Lauren, thank you so much for joining us, and we're just going to dive right in. So what's a brief overview of your career journey?
First, thanks for having me. I actually started off my career after I graduated Rutgers. I worked in home furnishings. I did retail wholesale work. I did sales and merchandising. And from there, I actually started working for a local artist and became their, was a successful local artist, and I became their gallery director. And after kind of doing all of that work, I realized that design was something that kind of had in common with all of my jobs, but it was never the main focus. So I decided to quit my job and become a designer. So, so I decided in my 30s, decided to go back to school. And I went to a certificate program. It's actually a portfolio school for advertising. And I spent a little over a year there because I ran out of money. And I learned the basics of design. My track was interactive design, and that brought me towards UX. I started as the visual design and getting all of that together, and that UX was just starting to kind of become a prominent field at that time. So I decided to take an online set of courses through the University of Minnesota, and finished that, got my portfolio together, and freelanced until I finally got my first job as a UX designer.
Oh, wow. Okay, so that really leads to my next question. As you said, there's really, it's never too early or too late to kind of shift careers. Was there anything in particular that inspired your career shift? And then also, like, what were some of the challenges that you faced, moving from one career field to another?
So my husband worked in technology, and I was always interested in not only technology, but art and pop culture. So these are things that always spoke to me. And one of his coworkers I became very close with. Ironically, I would go do things with his coworkers, and he did not come. So she was a UX designer, and she really became my first mentor. And I got great insights into what it was and kind of how to get started on it. And that's how I chose to go back to school and learn it a little bit more structured, as opposed to a lot of people do the boot camp route, which is really helpful. But at the same time, you're not going to learn enough in 8 weeks to be able to really dive in a meaningful way.
Yeah, you really need to kind of like more of that like formal training and like something that's more in depth than just like an 8-week boot camp.
Absolutely. And UX is so broad that there's no way you're going to learn what you need to know and really, be attractive to hiring managers without having a little bit more meat.
Absolutely. So was it a lot of like trial and error as you were like changing your career, or so like it kind of explained like what those challenges were like, what it was like, really having to kind of just like, make some mistakes and, learn from those. Like, how was that experience for you?
The biggest challenge I had, actually, it took me probably really 8 years to conquer. And it was my portfolio. I had a portfolio for my first job going in, but honestly, it wasn't very good. I was lucky enough that they saw my entrepreneurial spirit, and they knew I was going to be able to I had enough understanding I was going to be able to roll with it, that I was attractive to them, even though my skills were maybe not there yet. That was my first UX job at Cognia, and they really took a chance on me and I on them. And I learned so much, and I'm so thankful for that experience. But from there, I actually made the first portfolio that I was truly proud of. And that's what I had to be able to make that move to Florence, where I am now.
Oh, wow. Yeah, that's really, I'm just like super excited. It's awesome hearing about your journey. But as a mentor now, you've had like a wealth of experiences, and you kind of talked about how your husband's coworker was one of your first mentors. What was maybe something that you learned from her that you're going to use as a mentor, or what's something that like you wish you would have known along your career path that you're going to tell some of our mentors in the program?
I would say you don't have to know it all, but know a few things really well. And especially in a technology field, there's so many things that it changes so fast. It can be very overwhelming. And I think the key is just know a few things and really, be an owner of that and be an advocate and an expert, because you'll learn the other things. It's okay not to know everything, and be okay with not knowing everything, because nobody does. And, and on the other side of that, especially in UX, if you don't like to grow and if you don't like to keep learning, this is not the job for you. Like it is something that you never stop, and you can't stop. Just when you think that you really know your stuff, there's always ways that you get humbled really fast.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Yeah. So, once again, I just wanted to thank you so much for joining us. And a lot of the points you made about being humble, always being willing to learn, that your career journey could, shift at any age, at any point. That's super helpful. And thanks again for being a mentor, for joining us, for sharing some of your experiences. And I hope that you get just as much out of the mentor program as, I'm sure the students are going to get from you. So yeah, thank you so much.
Thank you.